What's going on, Colts fans? Welcome to today's episode of Colts Latest. I am your host, Scott Reiman, coming to you from San Rafael, California, in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. As always, before we get started, huge shout out to Fan Arch. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk Colts, which I love doing. Y'all need to go check out their website. Their website's incredible. There's so much content for NFL, MLB, NBA, NCAA, sports card collecting, wrestling, Olympics, you name it. They cover it all. Do me a favor, please like this video and subscribe to the Colts Latest channel so that I can keep putting out amazing Colts content for all of y'all throughout the off season. Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody out there. All right. So we've covered potential free agent signings on the offensive side of the ball, and while I expect the Colts to address their defensive weaknesses mostly in the draft, they could still explore free agency as a way to replace potential losses like Kwity Paye, Samson Ebukam, Tyquan Lewis, Jermaine Pratt, and Nick Cross. Out of those five, I'd like to see them sign Cross, Pratt, and either Lewis or Ebukam, but getting all three could be asking a lot. Pratt should come fairly cheap, and his familiarity with Lou Anarumo should incentivize him to want to come back on a team-friendly deal. The market for Cross is unknown, and his contract could range anywhere from like a 4 for $24 million to 3 for $40 million. The Colts would probably be in at that lower number, but probably not at the high-end number. Kwity Paye is still viewed as a former first-round pick with high upside, but I think he's going to end up commanding more than the Colts are willing to pay, even with their shortcomings at defensive end. And with potential losses in all three levels of the defense, we're going to look at a potential free agent signing at each level. So we're going to start up front with the defensive line. With Kwity Paye, Samson Ebukam, and Tyquan Lewis all free agents, who are some free agent defensive ends that the Colts could target? Now, there's been talk of the Colts going after Trey Hendrickson, but for this exercise, we're only going to focus on more low to mid-tier additions, kind of like depth ads, not superstar ads. Now, a much cheaper option who's just one season removed from double-digit sacks is Dante Fowler Jr. Fowler had a down year in 2025, seeing limited action in his second stint with the Dallas Cowboys. But in 2024, with the Washington Commanders, he recorded 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception, which he returned 67 yards for a touchdown. Considering he's turning 32 before the start of the season, the market for him should be fairly quiet, and the Colts may be able to get him on a team-friendly 1 to 2 year deal for around $5 million per year. Now, that would also allow Fowler to be a bridge and a mentor to a potential day 2 defensive end draft selection, as well as being a mentor to Laiatu Latu. Fowler also has 15 career forced fumbles, and the Colts could use someone that can force turnovers like that on Lou Anarumo's defense. He was the 3rd overall pick by the Jaguars back in 2015, and he missed his entire rookie season after tearing his ACL in the opening drill on the first day of minicamp. Talk about having a chip on your shoulder. Now, his tenure with the Jags did not end well after he filed a grievance alleging that they improperly fined him $700,000 for not attending rehab and medical appointments during the 2018 offseason, a grievance which he ultimately won. So, who knows? Maybe there's some bad feelings still in his mind, and maybe he'd like to take out those feelings twice a season on Jacksonville. Just a thought. Who knows? All right, moving on to linebacker. Not only is this a position where the Colts could lose their top performer from last season in Jermaine Pratt, although I expect them to bring him back, but this is the weakest unit on the roster. Even if they use several picks on linebackers in the draft, I would still expect them to add someone in free agency. And there's no shortage of quality names available as free agents. The question is, who will the Colts be able to afford? If the Colts want to bring in a seasoned veteran on a 1-year deal to act like a bridge to a linebacker who they may also draft on day 2, Then you can look at guys like Bobby Wagner, Levante David, Von Miller, or Jadeveon Clowney. These guys could all be available on incentive-laden one-year team-friendly contracts should their original teams choose to let them go. If they want to go after a guy who can contribute for years to come, however, I'd love to see them target someone like former Chiefs linebacker Leo Chenal. And I'm not just saying that because he was a Badger. Chenal is an underrated ball hawk who continues the Wisconsin tradition of being a smart player and a sound tackler who just has a nose for the ball. He's not flashy, he doesn't put up huge numbers, but he plays the position the right way. He's in on so many plays where they're making the tackle or just affecting the play in a way that helps the defense control the line of scrimmage. He had a Pro Football Focus grade of 75.1 last year, which was good for 18th out of 88 qualifying linebackers, and far better than anyone in the Colts linebacking corps. Chenal is known for his run stopping and effective blitzing, which are two qualities that the Colts linebacking corps has been lacking since Darius Shaq Leonard played for the team. The Chiefs are facing a difficult salary cap situation in 2026, so it's not certain that they are going to be able to bring Chenal back. He's projected to get anywhere from $5 to $10 million a year over a 2 to 3 year deal. And if the Colts can get him for something like 3 years, $20 million, and they're able to work that into their cap, then I think kicking the tires on a guy like Chenal makes a lot of sense. Adding help at linebacker is the number one priority for the Colts, behind signing Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. And getting one in the second or third round of the draft, in addition to Chenal, would immediately improve this group and the defense and front seven as a whole. All right, so moving on to the secondary. The Colts secondary seemed like one of their stronger units last season, with all pros Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward patrolling the outside, seasoned vet Kenny Moore in the much-utilized nickel corner spot, and blossoming stars Cam Bynum and Nick Cross at the safety position. Cross, however, is a free agent with a wide range of potential contract values, and if his cost gets too pricey, the Colts may be forced to move on. If that's the case, there's a player out there who I think could make a great option for the Colts as a bit of a reclamation project, and that's Kyle Dugger. Dugger was a stud for the first few years of his career in New England, intercepting 9 passes between 2021 and 2023. He excelled in both pass coverage and run stopping, an important quality in a safety. I mean, Nick Cross is a fantastic run stopper, but his coverage is definitely lacking, and the Colts could use that coverage over the middle of the field, especially with the subpar linebacking crew they've got. Now, Dugger's high level of play earned him a 4-year, $58 million contract extension in April of 2024. His 2024 season, however, was cut short due to an ankle injury. He faced a lengthy recovery from that injury before the 2025 season, and he was passed on the depth chart during the preseason. Dugger never seemed to fit with Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel's defense, and he saw limited action in 7 games for the Patriots in 2025 before they traded him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before they traded him, they restructured his contract to basically eat what was left of his 2025 salary and wipe out the final 2 years of the deal, making him a free agent after last season. He played better for Pittsburgh, picking off 2 passes and returning 1 for a touchdown in 9 games with the team, showing that he still has something left in the tank. He turns 30 next month, and I would think he could be had on something like a 2-year, $12 million deal, should the price for Nick Cross get too high. Now, if Cross can be retained for a similar $6 million a year deal, I'm sure the Colts would rather stick with the guy who's familiar with the Lou Anarumo defense and who's younger. Now, if that price gets over $10 million a year, which is certainly possible, then the Colts could sign Dugger and use those savings elsewhere. Now, these predictions are all going to be revisited as teams start to place their franchise tags this week and start to offer their free agents new contracts and guys get released. All the guys I mentioned might be retained by their own teams. Many players are going to get released and thrown into the free agent pool. It's going to be exciting to see how it all plays out and how similar or different the Colts defense looks entering the 2026 season. Hopefully, it looks at least somewhat different. One thing's for sure, there are more holes to fill on the defensive side of the ball than the offense, so I expect the majority of draft picks and free agent signings to address that side of the ball. All right, that's it for our preliminary look at some free agents the Colts might go after this season. Like I said, as the offseason progresses, we'll have a better idea of what positions they're going to target, who else might be out there, and who's not out there anymore. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to FanArch. Go check out their website, fanarch.com. Like this video, subscribe to the Colts Latest channel, and let's go Colts!